everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Vanessa from Nail Art by Nessa, but this is not a nail video. This is about my Canada Day and the events leading up to and following Canada Day. So yes, I live in Canada and I live in the western province of British Columbia in the interior, in a town called Kamloops. In the week leading up to Canada Day, it was extremely hot. We had record-breaking temperatures every single day. Now, you could maybe expect something like this in like August or at the end of July, but this was the end of June. And in Lytton, BC on June 30th, they got up to 49 degrees Celsius. And on the coast, they were at about 40, 41. And people don't have air conditionings on the coast. So people were dying and the ambulances couldn't keep up. They say that hundreds of people died from the heat wave. It was insane. And in the waters, billions of shellfish died. It was too hot and they were literally cooked to death, as you can see in these articles I've provided. The town of Kamloops is situated in a very dry climate, and it is actually a partial desert with succulents and hoodoos on the hills. On the evening of July 1st, we were issued with an extreme thunderstorm warning watch, and everyone was on high alert for forest fires because the day prior, we lost the town of Lytton, BC. It completely burnt down to the ground. People had moments to leave their house and flee. People lost their pets and animals. 2 people died. It was really devastating. When the severe thunderstorm hit, I went into the backyard to watch, and it was just starting to get dark. I saw bolts of lightning hit the hills right near my place to the south of me. And then about 2 minutes later, I was facing a little bit more to the north, watching more lightning, when I noticed black smoke rising behind my head. So I turned around, and sure enough, there was heavy smoke rising from the back of the hill. So I immediately ran into my home and grabbed my phone to call 911. 911 was saturated with phone calls, so I didn't get through. But then it occurred to me, maybe I should call my brother and sister-in-law who live just down the street from me and warn them there is fire heading towards us. And by that point, I could already see flames at the top of the hill. So, of course, my brother went outside to go check out the fire, and this is the video that he made from his perspective.
Well, it's not every day that you see a fire right over the ridge from where you live. This was this result of the thunder that you're probably hearing right now, the lightning. And apparently this happened within the last 10 minutes. This is all flared up. So that's looking up towards the ridge below Juniper Ridge, I guess. Yeah, crazy. It is very windy, and you can see flames. There's some flames right there. I don't know if you saw that in the video, but just on the ridge there. Wow. It's definitely brighter in person.
From my brother's perspective, the fire is to the south and slightly to the east of him. And well, I happen to live on the same street as him, but just to the east. And that fire was perfectly lined up with my house. So I had ran inside and started packing my things. I grabbed a few articles of clothing, my toiletries, threw those into a backpack. I grabbed my cat flip-flop and threw them into the car. I then started making trips going back and forth from my place, taking my nail supplies, my paper craft supplies, and a TV that I still had in a box. We packed what we could into my car and then drove down the street to check to see how my brother and his family were doing. At this point, the smoke was so intense at my place that we could hardly see, and we had black ash built up in the corners of our eyes. The fire had almost traveled all the way down the hills at this point and was just above people's houses that lived next to the hill. My brother and his family were just about ready to go, so my mom and I drove to my parents' place to wait for everyone. We started listening to the radio, and it was only a few minutes later that they lifted the evacuation notice and said everyone could go home. I was really shocked by this, and when I got home, I was really shocked to see that the fire was still burning. So you can see the fire is burning there on the hill. This is just behind my home. There's a highway in between and some hills, and that's it. The fire is right there. You can see the one tree is actually on fire. And you can see where there's still little bits of fire down below that haven't completely gone out yet. And still lightning happening around us. So like I said, this is after the evacuation notice has already been lifted, and there are houses behind that fire that are up on the next ridge called Juniper Ridge. So it was pretty crazy, and I was really shocked that they had lifted the evacuation notice. It was really hard for me to go to bed that night, though I was covered in ash. I had a shower around 2 o'clock at night to get all of the dust and dirt off, and my hair, it was like black stuff dripping down the shower. It was ridiculously gross. You can actually see the flames there. I did eventually go to bed, but as you can imagine, it was hard with this happening literally in your backyard. Just look at those flames. I mean, my phone does not take a very good video from this distance, but they were close. The next morning, my father and I went out to buy a few things, and on the way back, the fire had started again, and here's a video of that. It's right behind those houses. They quickly got this blaze under control, but then another fire started where the fire was the night before, and you can see the smoke rising and some flames. It was pretty intense, so they brought in the water bombers. They brought in 6 water bombers and 2 jets with fire retardants. So here are a couple clips of the planes trying to put out the fire. So that's 6 water bombers in a row, and the next video is from my brother's perspective.
Get it, get it. Zach.
Watch out, Michael.
This is a photo I took on July 1st before the fires, and you can see it was really smoky from the Lytton fire and other nearby fires. And now here is a picture of the backyard with the hills behind on July 3rd, and you can see how much burnt. On the evening of July 3rd, the winds picked up again, and the winds tend to come down the hill straight towards me. And now, well, there's no vegetation on those hills, so we ended up with a crazy sandstorm. But it wasn't just sand, it was ash as well as sand, and it was pretty intense. I got really blasted. I had to move my plants and stuff inside, and just for those few moments that I was outside, I got so incredibly dirty. Once again, my hair was just full of dirt. When I washed it, it was like mud coming out of my hair. Since July 3rd, we've had multiple sand windstorms like this, and last I heard there were over 900 forest fires burning in BC, one of which is just north of Kamloops and considered out of control. So I hope the last couple weeks have been better for you than they were for me. Don't play with fire, guys. It's dangerous, especially right now. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It helps out a lot. If you're into nail stuff, then hopefully I'll see you soon with my next nail video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.